Hello everyone, my name is Eugene from CAD Micro Solutions. In this video, I'm going to show you what's new in Altium Designer from the release of 2009 up to the recent release of Altium Designer 2015. This video just show you a little bit of a sneak peek and some of the neat new features in the recent releases of Altium Designer. If you'd like to know more about what else is out there, please feel free to contact us at CAD Micro Solutions. So in Altium Designer 15, you can now make use of the schematic symbol generation tool, or what we call as the symbol wizard, as short, to very easily create schematic symbols on the fly. So say for example we want to create a dual inline component, we can simply just make use of this wizard whereby we can change the number of pins that we're going to use. We can change the electrical type for each specific pins. We can change whether we want the pins to go from the side or from the top and bottom, right? We can also change for electrical types. We can change whether it's an I/O, it's an input, output, open collector, passive, emitter, power, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, the symbols of the pins will change with respect to the electrical type. You can also change the display name of the pins as well. So say for example, if I name everything as test 1, 2, 3, test 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth, you'll see that it'll change on the fly and you'll come with a preview as well. Since we are working with a tabular form, what we can do is we can also copy and paste from an Excel table so that all the editing can be done from an Excel, or if you already have all the data sheet of the pins available in Excel, you can also do a smart paste so that you can bring in all the information directly into the schematic symbol wizard so that whenever you create the symbol, there is very little there is very little back and forth reference so that it saves the time that you need. And you can also place it as a part for a multiple part component or just a part. You can also see that you have other formats of symbols that you can create through the symbol wizard as well, such as a zigzag connector and so on and so forth. So in Altium Designer 15, you now also have the ability to actually make use of Altium's library that is shared to all the customers who are under subscription through what we call as the Altium Content Vault. So the Altium Content Vault contains components ranging from surface mounts to through-hole components that all belong to the different manufacturers, all the way from Microchip to Texas Instruments to Atmel to TI, Texas Instruments, and so on and so forth. As you can see here, there's a connector listed under this component, under this library. You can also make use of the search field as well to search for a component that you want based on the manufacturer part number that you already know or that you're already familiar with, right? So if you're to place this MSP 430 microcontroller and try to search for it using the search field, you'll be able to see a preview of the 2D footprint along with the schematic symbol. You can also make use of the 3D viewer as well to see the 3D body of that actual footprint before you actually place the component. All of the blue lines shows that there are hyperlinks as well that brings you directly to the data sheet of this particular component or bring you directly to the vendors such as DigiKey, Mouser, Farnell, Newark, all that collaborate with Altium to make sure that you can order directly from Altium Content Vault to the vendor website, right? So if you hover to the supply chain, you'll see that it updates all the price lists as well as um, the the stock availability based on live data, right? So what Altium does is it will point to the particular information available on the vendor website and then update the pricing as well as availability list on demand, right? So if you have to click on any of the part number here, it'll bring you automatically to the vendor website where you can directly order it from the vendor. As you can see here, there's the Mouser website here, which has this MSP 430 component that you can buy directly. So if you would like to place this component, you can simply place this component, and not only that, you can also copy and paste this symbol to your library as well if you want to do that. Once you place this component, if you hover above it, you'll see all the price and availability list because of the live supplier links to those vendor information. Not only that, when you go from design to procurement, you would want to make sure that all those pricing and availability information is brought along with the schematic symbols. And through the live bill of material, you're able to maintain the supplier links, as you can see here. The quantity as well as the availability will affect the pricing of the component, right? So the price of the board for one component would be different compared to the price of the board if you are going to make use of 100 components because you are making use of the price cap. So all the price cap, the supplier information, as well as the stock availability will all be taken care from the schematic symbol in the Altium content vault all the way to the live bill of materials so that you go from design to production without having any risk of, oh, are you getting the parts or you get the risk of over budgeting, right? Many of our Altium customers currently use variants. So variants are basically different variations of the board. Say for example, if you want a board to have a component fitted, whereas another board to have another component not fitted, but both are essentially the same design, we can manage it just by using one project file with two different variants. So in here, we're going to create a variant, and in Altium Designer, the variant management is what we call as true variant management because we not only can select the fitted or non-fitted, we can not only make a component fitted or non-fitted, but what we can do is we can also choose an alternate part for that particular component as well so that we bring in a different footprint if need be, right? A different footprint that maybe has a larger step body, but not necessarily a different pad, so that the pad matching would still match, right? So once you do the variant, it would also carry forward to the bill of material as well, so that you get a proper procurement list for your list of components, right? Based on the variants of the board that you have. So say for example, if you had to populate this board with both the packages of the two different variants on the same board, what we can do is we can flip back and forth between the first and the second variant, and you can see that in variant one, the one of the component will have the footprint, whereas the second one will not have the footprint because of the variant management. But essentially, the two of them sit on the same board. So I'm just showing that in the out job document, you can also make use of the output job file to actually create assembly drawings as well as schematic drawings to show the fitted and not fitted components as well as the alternate parts which have different value information. In Altium Designer 2015, you now can add teardrops automatically as well as remove them through the teardrops manager. So as you can see here, you can add teardrops to pads, surface mount pads, tracks, as well as T-junctions. You can also configure how far do you want the teardrops to be from a specific primitive, such as from the pad or from the T-junction itself. So if you are to invoke the teardrops here, I would like to place a teardrop around my pad, and I would like to change the teardrop configuration using the percentage mode. Right? All I gotta do is then just click on OK, and you'll see that the teardrops will be added automatically, right? Based on the configuration that I have set. Teardrops are very important to make sure that you have a proper copper flow so that you have a thermal relief between the pads and its connection. Right? I can also go ahead and remove them or add them to the other entities as well if need be. So if I were to remove it, you'll see that all the teardrops that has been created or selected can be removed. VIA stitching or VIA shielding are commonly used, especially if you are working with multi-layers, so that you can stitch the two planes together so that you enhance the uniformity of the nets that you're working on. So say for example we have this polygon pore here which you would like to tie in with throughout the whole layer stack. So what I can do is I can add a stitch to the net over a constraint, and I want to connect it to a specific net, the ground net. And all I gotta do is just draw a rectangular area around that polygon pore. So what that will do is it will add a shield, right, around this polygon pore to ensure that the polygon pore will always be connected to the specific net with a uniform net connectivity. I can also then go ahead and change the size as well as the shape of the VS stitching as well as a group. I can say I want it to be a circular arc. I can change the chamfer. I can drag it all the way in as well if I want to. I can change or add vertices as well to this VS stitching group also. This is a very good way to actually manage your VS stitch. You don't have to place them all one by one. All you gotta do is just place them in an array and change the size of the array when need be. With the abundance of consumer electronics, especially wearable devices and Internet of Things products, more and more people are going into the rigid flex design products. So in Altium Designer, we do realize the momentum in this field, and that's the reason why we do support the rigid flex design in Altium Designer. As you can see here, we have a Bluetooth module here, whereby we would like to perform a rigid flex animation, as well as to get an idea on how it will fit in its enclosure. So for all the different regions of the stack up, we can define what layers we want to include in the two separate stack ups, both the rigid as well as the flex stack up. What we can do then is we can then export this as a step file, step file, which is a native mechanical file extension, whereby we can say, okay, I want it to fall uh, in a percentage, and so that the mechanical guys can then try that folded design in their enclosure to make sure that it fits. So finally, the feature that I like the most with the recent release of Altium Designer 15 is the ability for you to export your PCB in 3D PDF format. So with the recent releases of Acrobat Reader 809, you now have the ability to actually view files in 3D format. So as you can see here, we have a 3D board here, which we can export it as a 3D file, and we can open it up using the free Acrobat Reader 9, right, as you can see here. So what you can do is you can zoom in, you can rotate the board around. What you can also do is you can also jump to a specific component as well. You can hide the components, you can highlight it as well. You can also isolate the component that you want. What you can do is you can, which I'm not showing here, but what you can do is also you can measure between vertices, you can measure between components, or measure between measure an edge as well. You can also add nodes so that you can identify to your assembly line or your fabricators, hey, I want this component to be omitted, or I want this component to be removed, and so on and so forth, or to create a test point on that. Other nodes that you want to add further compared to your PCB design. So this is just a little bit of a tease of what's new in Altium Designer 15, all the way from Altium Designer 9. If you'd like to know more about this product, feel free to contact us at CAD Micro Solutions, or you can contact me, Eugene, on YouTube or on my email down below. Thank you.